them. Better than none.
Shalom, y'all. Shalom. We're here with Janette today. She's going to be sharing her amazing Bible code table, Yahushua. We've known him as Jesus as we were raised, but in fact, he has a Hebrew name. Shalom, y'all. Shalom. We're here with I'm going to find that. She's going to be sharing her amazing Bible code table, Yahushua. We've known him as Jesus. There we go. Sorry about that, you guys. There's going to be a little feedback, I think. Maybe not. Okay. Janette, I think we're ready for you.
Okay. All right. Shalom and welcome, everybody. It's good to have you here. All right, I can't actually do this until I'm ready to do it. So here we are. So as Darla says, Yahushua, the full spelling of Yeshua, as we know him. This table is the Lion of Judah, Revelation 5:5, and it's Numbers 8:17 to 22:36. So it's a small skip, really. It's just one book, and the ELS is 1240, which actually means to inquire, seek. We'll get to that in a minute. So Revelation 1:1-3, the revelation of Yahushua, Mashiach, which Elohim gave him to show his servants what has to take place with speed. And he signified it by sending his messenger to his servant Yohanan, who bore witness to the word of Elohim and the witness of Yahushua, Mashiach, to all he saw. So these are the words of Yahushua to Yohanan, to John, and he's showing John. So really, the book of Revelation, I tend to consider it to be the fifth gospel, because it's the actual words of Yahushua. So verse 3 says, Baruch is he who reads, and those who hear the words of this prophecy, and guard what is written in it, for the time is near. So Revelation 5:1-8 says, and I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll, written inside and on the back, so it's double-sided, having been sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong messenger proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the scroll and loosen its seals? And no one in the heaven or on the earth or under the earth was able to open the scroll or to look at it. And I wept much, because no one was found worthy to open and read the scroll or to look at it. And one of the elders said to me, do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Yehudah, the root of David, overcame to open the scroll and to loosen its 7 seals. And I looked and saw in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, a lamb standing, as having been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 ruach of Elohim, sent out into all the earth. And he came and took the scroll out of the right hand of him sitting on the throne. And when he took the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each holding a harp and golden bowls filled with incense, which are the prayers of the set-apart ones, the remnant. So 2 Timothy 1:9 says, who has saved us and called us with a set-apart calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and favour, which was given to us in Mashiach, Yahushua, before times of old. Wow. but now revealed by the appearing of our Saviour, Yahushua Mashiach, who indeed abolished death and brought life and incorruptibility to light through the good news, for which I was appointed a proclaimer and an emissary and a teacher of the Gentiles. And I love this too, Revelation 1:18. I am the living one. I was dead, but look, I am alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys to death and hell. And we was just having a talk about that when I Googled it, that Sheol is the resting place of the departed spirits, and the grave is the resting place of bodies, of the flesh. So this made me wonder, who's he showing these keys to? You know, so we have here 1 Peter 3:19, in which also he went and proclaimed unto the spirits in prison. And verse 22 says, who, having gone into heaven, is at the right hand of Elohim, messengers and authorities and powers having been subjected to him. So that's the powers and principalities and all the spiritual beings. So 2 Peter 2:4 says, for if Elohim did not spare the messengers who sinned, but sent them to Tartarus and delivered them into chains of darkness to be kept for judgment. So I think that's where he went and showed the keys to, as if to say, it's mine. Now I'm taking it back. I mean, it was always his, but. So Daniel 12:3. And those who have insight shall shine like the brightness of the expanse, and those who lead many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. But you, Daniel, hide the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall diligently search, and knowledge shall increase. And we're there now. In Proverbs 25:2, it is the esteem of Elohim to hide a matter, and the esteem of sovereigns to search out a matter. Now, when he says, Daniel, hide the words, seal the book, and the book is a sefer, could be a scroll, probably was a scroll, until the time of the end. I wonder if that's the same scroll that Yahushua breaks the seals of. So here is the table. It was a joy to work on. As I say, the skip of 1240 here means to inquire, seek in the Strongs. Yahushua is the access term. There's my name beside it. It showed up in a few places, but yeah, it was beside it. So besides Yahushua, so I chose that one. I hope I'm worthy. So we have here Yahuwah in a palindrome and there, and it appears somewhere else. I'll get to that in a minute. Here in the blue, we've got praise with the Het, Hey, Lamed, Hey, and directly underneath it, we've got he who reveals.
So Janette, that's a Ta Hey Lamed Hey.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a tar. It didn't have its little thingy on, but it's a tar. In my name here in the turquoise, we've got the death here in the green growing up, and here's Yohanan in the red. We have in the black visions, the visions of Yohanan. Yeah, that's the Het without the little tail on the end. We've got key here in this purple with the Mem Pei Ta Het. And here we've got encode in the blue. So it could be a key encoded, or encoded is the key. It could also be the keys, as we just looked at that slide, the keys to death and hell, Sheol and Hades. We have here in the turquoise incarnative, when we were checking the words yesterday, stamp and mark, but we also came up with incarnative, and when I looked it up on Google, they're incarnative, causing new flesh to grow, healing, regenerative. So that was interesting. We've got seal twice in this bright green, so breaking open the seals. We've got 7 as well, the 7 down here in the orange, and this particular spelling is also abundance, solemnly, strictly, and bound by an oath. So we have the 7 seals, but I think there's more going on, this bound by an oath, and where he showed himself to during those 3 days between his death and resurrection. I have a feeling there's more information there. We have the grave here in the black. We've got Yehuda in the plain text, and then crossing it, there's the word, and crossing it, and also sharing the wa is majesty, beauty, and honor. So share the wa. But here in the sagey green is the lion. So we've got the lion is crossing Yehuda. The lion is also up here in the sagey green. So here we have, and he rules. And with the wa, shin, aleph, wa, lamed, it spells inquired. But if you take the wa off, just using the shin, aleph, wa, lamed, you have Sheol, the grave. Here with the red circles, it says and root. So and the root, and here in the pink is David, and the root and David share a wa too. So it's not, well, just so fitting for the table, the root of David, the Lion of Judah, they're interconnected, and the root of David. Also here with the blue, going inside the same vertical line is transgression. Here in this red, we've got tribes, or tribes with the shin, bet, tet, yod. But if you leave the yod off, it spells scepter. So scepter would be going here with majesty, like a kingdom, a king. So here we've got scroll, book, the deed, evidence. What else have we got? Now, this is becoming one of my favourite words. It's showing up in a lot of tables lately. As to the timing of being snatched, rescued, spared, taken, delivered, I don't know, but it's there. And that's enough for me, because when he comes back, we hear his voice. It says those of us who are believers and followers will hear his voice, and in an instant will be changed in the twinkling of an eye, whether we're alive or even if we've passed over. But that will do to know that, that's where we're going. The remnant, there's a remnant there. We have the remnant in the turquoise. The remnant. We have my sacrifice just here. We've said visions, said Yohanan coming up here. and the death. So there we have the code table.
And we also were talking yesterday about this word Boker, which is your ELS. You've looked up the ELS, which is your skip, which is 1240. And that word in Strong's is Boker. It means inquire and seek, but it's a pretty interesting word because it's also the word in Hebrew for the morning. It's when the night and the day break. What'd you say, Janette?
Boker Tov.
Yeah, Boker Tov. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah. So it's a breaking forth. It also means to burst forth or break forth. And I just think it's so awesome. After Janette and I looked over her terms yesterday and checked for spelling and things, I noticed that our two cherry trees have all of the sudden this broke forth in cherry. So they weren't making cherries before, not at all. And then all of a sudden, that's a breaking forth. So Yahuwah was giving me I believe he was giving me an object lesson in breaking forth. So these were cherry trees that previously never made a cherry, and now cherries are breaking forth. So that's this kind of a word. So there's an inquiring and seeking. You kind of think about, well, if you're asking, you're putting yourself out there and you're seeking. You're not closed. You're open to an answer, right? You might be diligently searching and seeking.
Yep.
Really cool word. Did you have verses in specific? I know it's a pretty small area. You're all in the book of Numbers we're seeing there.
Yes.
Several chapters in Numbers.
Yep. Did you want to look at the underlying?
Yes.
Okay.
Remember too, you had the grave, Ha Kabir, which was Kuf Bet Resh as compared to Bet Kuf.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So the same letters, which is there that Janette's pointing to in Boker, is in Kaber, in the grave, Ha Kaber.
So bursting forth from the grave.
Yeah. So you can just see that those letters, besides the hey, which is just a prefix that means the, that's the same three letters in a different order. It means the grave. So there's death implied there.
I've just noticed that these three words here is Bet Resh Zion. What do they make? I wonder what word.
Well, I can look it up.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a live little search.
Bet Resh Zion.
Yeah. And if you wanted to expand it, there would also be an ayin and a lamed on. Because that's in the plain text. So
Yeah.
who knows? You know, must mean something.
Yeah.
Could be Zion Resh Bet.
It is tapped faucet bung hole bung. From Bet Resh Zion, he bored or perforated. It's also to drill, bore, to open the tap. He drilled, bored, he opened the tap or tapped.
Okay.
So that's an interesting word when we're talking about Yahushua, and this is a different name than we were raised with. But just being open and inquiring and seeking, we do see people seem to have two responses about the name Yahushua, people that have been raised with the name Jesus, right? They're either open and they want to inquire and seek, and they're really happy to know his Hebrew name, his true name, or they're kind of resistant to that. They're kind of closed to that, and they want to stick with Jesus, which is what they've been taught up and raised up in. So this would be a sense of tapping into something, boring into it, looking, inquiring, seeking.
What about the other way around? The Zion Resh Bet.
We can look that way up as well.
Because
It's like that.
It's
And any permutation as well. If there's a spelling, we will generally have it in one of our Hebrew dictionaries. And I'm looking in the Klein's Etymological Dictionary of the Hebrew Language. Zion Resh Bet means, let's see. It says a base of uncertain origin and signification, perhaps meaning to press, to compress. So kind of like the opposite, or
Yeah.
push in on, right? It wouldn't be like opening it up. It says it's Akkadian is zarubu, to press, and Arabic is zarb, enclosure. Some scholars compare Arabic zariba, it flowed, and according to them, zub is related to base zaram and means to flow. Others see in zarab a collateral form of zarab, and according to them, zarab means it flowed. So it says it says hapax legomenon in the scriptures, but that means it occurs one time in Job 6 verse 17, or at least with this meaning, which is usually rendered they were pressed together, i.e. became waterless or scorched. Wow, that's quite a different idea of compressed to me, waterless or scorched.
Yes.
But wow, that's a huge impact right there.
Indeed.
That makes me think a little bit of our current situation over here in Hawaii, and that's as far as I'll say, but waterless and scorched.
So have we finished with the table? Because I have to stop
Yes.
share to get onto the live.
Oh, we also want to say Shaul, where it says inquired over in the purple, which you can still see here in the smaller version. This is also the name of Shaul, the Hebrew name for Paul. Shaul is inquired, and it's also this word for grave. So that one's and inquired.
John inquired, didn't he?
Yeah. And so if that
Sorry.
definition you got today was that the grave is where the body goes, and then did they gave Shaul for where the
departed spirits go. Yes. Yeah, we get deep.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, I'll just bring up the keys.
So Janette's going to share some scriptures with us that are where some of these letters are encoded, the scriptures that are there, like on the top layer. What's encoded is underneath.
Okay, can we see?
Yes, we do.
Lovely. Right, the first one is going to be the Yod in the access term, which is Yahushua. Oh, don't have to do that, do I? To get it up first. Okay, so that Yod in Yahushua here is Numbers 17:23, and it says, "And it came to pass that on the next day Moses went into the tent of testimony, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi had budded." It's like your cherry tree.
Wow, right. Wow.
And brought forth buds and bloomed blossoms and yielded almonds. Wow, Darla.
Very cool.
Isn't that?
Very cool.
There's some secret message coming to you here. And this wa, is this the right wa? 16:12. No, it's this wa. A lot of it is repetitive because it's so short, going across it. you can click on a lot of things and it's giving you the same verse. So this wa in Yahushua is Numbers 15 verse 3. It says, and will make an offering by fire to Yahuwah, a burnt offering or a sacrifice in performing a vow, or in a free will offering, or in your solemn feasts to make a sweet savour to Yahuwah of the herd or of the flock. And of course, he's the lamb. He's the perfect lamb.
Janette, look there in the Hebrew before you go off of this verse. I see Boker on the end, the Boker.
Oh, yeah.
See there.
Yeah, the Boker. So what is that, of the flock?
I don't know. I'd have to break it down looking at it. So it's of Yahuwah from the Boker. Or unto Yahuwah from the... Is this the end of the verse, or is there more on another line below it?
Oh, it's got a semicolon there.
In the Hebrew, on the first side.
It won't go. Sorry?
On the bottom line, you have an up and down arrow to your right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. All right.
I never do that.
You can go back. So that one's of the flock. So the other's of the herd, I would imagine. So the Boker is the herd. I think we saw that. Didn't we see the cattle or something for Boker as well, Janette, when we were looking at the word? Yeah, I think we did. We saw cattle.
I think we did, yes.
So that's the cattle part.
And it's funny because I have a cow next to me, like
Right.
in the field next door, not literally.
There you go. Cattle, herd, oxen. I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Very cool.
So 336, the Yod in the Yahuwah palindrome. So this is Numbers 9:18. It says, at the commandment of Yahuwah, the people of Israel journeyed, and at the commandment of Yahuwah, they camped. As long as the cloud abode upon the tabernacle, they rested in their tents.
Wow, that's a beautiful picture of Yahushua, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes,
Very beautiful.
it is. We've got one that's about Balaam's ass as well. 291. Is this? Might be that one. Yeah, Numbers 22:32. And the angel of Yahuwah said to him, why did you strike your ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand you, because your way is perverse before me. Now, I've just been doing a table on, what have I done the table on? The 3 wise men, and it came up with this about Balaam's ass, and it's to do with prophesying about the coming of Yahushua. Now, without going into my notes, because I've only just started this other table, does anybody know how this Balaam's ass pertains to a prophecy? No.
You mean the prophecy that he gave to?
Well, about the coming of the Messiah.
Yeah, where he said he sees a star coming, that part?
Yes,
Yeah.
I see him, but not now.
Yeah.
I behold him, but not yet.
Yeah.
So we must be close within that to that actual prediction, prophecy. Am I making sense?
What do you think about the signs in Virgo then that are headed this way?
I'm not sure, Leah. I think that might be foretelling of the Antichrist, actually, the man of lawlessness, shall we say. because yeah, definitely, because we had that sign in 2017.
Right.
Perfect. You know, this one is not perfect. And watching that video, I don't know what other 3 stars or bodies make up the crown of Leo. You know, the 12 stars, it says a crown of 12 stars at her head. And, you
Right.
know, Leo has 9 fixed stars or bodies that make up the constellation of Leo. But in 2017, 3 more stars came to make up those 3,
Well,
the 12 of the crown. But what has happened, the video that I saw, the guy just said, oh, there is 3 stars, but he didn't name them. So we don't know what they are.
oh yeah.
I was waiting for that. I thought, well, what are they? I think we actually sent him a message actually and said, can you clarify that bit? You know, because it's important. We need to have all of the information. And it was very difficult.
Just can't just be winging it and saying, well,
No,
look at this.
anyone can say anything, can't they? You know,
Yeah.
you check these things out.
Especially when we have so many pre-trib date setters that are like grabbing at, oh, this is a sign, that's a sign. They're not even signs mentioned in scripture. It's like they're making up their own signs for things. What's that?
Yeah, they're making stuff up. There's a certain entity, organization that names all those things. And they where did they get these names? Ukraine and Yeshua. I haven't even seen that in scripture.
No.
Yeah.
Never.
Up with these things. Exactly.
See, the thing is, like I've said before, that first we've got to have the man of lawlessness. He's
right.
got to come first, and the mark of the beast, and then Yahushua will come, and every eye will see him. You know, he's going to come in the clouds the same way he went up, we're told. So we need to be clear on what the scriptures tell us. So, you know, we're going to start seeing all kinds of crazy signs and wonders, and people are going to, you know, start declaring themselves to be the Messiah, and this is a sign for this. But where the church doesn't teach these things properly, everyone is waiting for a rapture before Yahushua truly comes.
Yeah.
And I really fear that they are going to fall for this great deception that is going to be put out there by Hasatan, you know, by Lucifer.
I think that's what the deception is for.
Yes.
For all that aren't basically like in covenant and looking at, you know, what scripture really says.
Yes. Yeah. And I did read the other day, I can't remember the scripture verse now, but it said Yahuwah will send the strong delusion.
He's a strong delusion. Yep.
Yeah. Because they want to believe the lie. So, you know, it's going to be a do what thou wilt kind of thing, because that's what everybody wants. They don't want to live by the commandments of Yahuwah and have the testimony of Yahushua. They want that to do their own thing with their own laws, and it is going to be do what thou wilt, you know, and everyone's going to love it. I think, yep, wonderful.
Just escape without any trials right from their lazy boy chair.
Yeah, well, exactly, Leah. I mean, we're told, you know, we're going to have trials, we're going to have tribulations, we're going to have to go through the fire, we've got to pick up our cross and follow him. And it's not that he saves us from these things, it's that he walks with us through it. He gives us strength, you know. It's like the fourth man in the fire with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah. To endure to the end. Yeah. Whatever end that is for each one of us, right?
That's what he wants to see. He wants to be us to be tested. No.
Now, yes. Yeah. Refined like fire, or refined like gold through the fire.
Yeah.
Because when Terry did her code, or she hasn't presented it yet, but she used that the signs in Virgo with all of the different names and that. But she was saying that both you and her had found rapture in your codes.
Yes. Yeah, but like I say, but when? You see?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And also we need to go over the fact that that word also, as Janette had on there, snatched, but it's snatched for a toe purpose, a good purpose, or an evil purpose. Like, we know that the tares are going to be gathered first.
That's right.
Where's the counter version of the, the rapture story? Where's the fear of being caught in that first gathering? It almost
Yeah.
ought to be. If people are really reading their scriptures, they ought to be like, wait a minute, there's going to be a first gathering first. We need to be prepared for that. We need to be bound tightly to our Creator, to His Word. And instead of listening to every dream and vision on YouTube, the scriptures are filled with prophecies about what's going to happen. Here's one of them. It's in Jeremiah 16, verses 19 to 21. It says, "O Yahuwah, my strength and my stronghold and my refuge, in the day of distress, the Gentiles," that means the Gentiles are going to have a day of distress. "In the day of distress, the Gentiles shall come to you from the ends of the earth and say," this is what we're going to say, "Our fathers have inherited only falsehood, futility, and there is no value in them. Would a man make mighty ones for himself, which are not mighty ones?" What mighty ones have we made for ourselves? "Therefore, see, I am causing them to know, this time I cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahuwah." So unless He's caused us all to know His name is Yahuwah, and we don't even have to go sharing and teaching it with everybody because everybody knows it, that's also another prophecy, then this hasn't happened yet. This is where we ought to be studying prophecy in the Word. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, He tells us that we're Baruch for studying Revelation.
Yes.
And yet nobody teaches it. I mean, who teaches it? The churches sure don't seem to, especially here. They don't. Oh no, it's too dark, they say. You think, what? Too dark?
And most of the ones that do, that say that, like, I'm going to teach on Revelation because the church is failing to do so. They're pre-trib rapture. We're all, the rapture's coming at this time because this prophecy or that prophecy or so it ends up being just kind of as watered down as what the church is teaching anyways, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't teach that we've got to go through the trials to learn to trust in Him, hear His voice, know that without a shadow of a doubt, He's not going to leave us, nor are we going to leave Him. Because that's what the whole falling away is. Because I think that's because so many people believe in this pre-trib rapture, and then as they start to witness that they're in tribulation, no shadow of a doubt, and they haven't been raptured, it'll be like, well, He lied to us.
Yeah, they're preaching, pastors and priests and, everyone that's been teaching them wrongly.
Yeah, when I was preparing the YouTube thumbnail for our study on Shabbat, which was on Revelation 1, I was sort of taken with verse 1. It begins, it says, "Revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach." Of course, I'm reading from a Restored Name translation. "Revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach, which Elohim gave him to show his servants what has to take place with speed." This is not something we can pray away. It has to take place with speed. That's just profound statement to me.
Yeah.
Especially when you can literally feel things contracting, moving faster.
Yeah.
Faster. Like, when He first removed the scales from my eyes and just showed me that, some of the evil in this world and waking me up. And it would be like, you know, once a year something would happen, then once every 6 months, then once every 3 months, then once a month, then once every couple of weeks, then once a week. Then now it is like on such multiple scales daily of information coming out of things that are
Yes.
coming.
Can't
No.
keep up.
No, you can't even keep up now. And it's going to just continue.
And as it says, unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved.
Yeah.
We're hurtling along. We need to prepare.
Just having that long distance view in mind as well, I think, is that we are heading towards Revelation 22. We clearly
Yes.
need to be studying this book out.
Yeah.
We're on a fast track.
Yeah. And I just want to show you that this lamed here on 256, this lamed, which is part of the word, because I haven't got it in front of me now, of course, is
Looks like you've got Lila there. Layla.
ruler. That's what I've got it down as.
Oh, we've got Mashal. You had Mashal as a ruler.
Yes, that's it. So this lamed says Numbers 9:16. So it was always, the cloud covered it by day and the appearance of fire by night. So it's another one about the tent of meeting, the tabernacle in the wilderness.
And the Exodus. Yeah.
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 The cloud covered it by day and the appearance of fire by night. Haven't we had a conversation about, was that Yahushua?
What I love about it is it was visible to the people. They saw it.
Yeah.
They were reassured by Yahuwah's protection and guidance.
And yet they still went astray.
Yeah.
Those people still turned their back. They saw, witnessed, they walked on dry ground with the sea either side of them, and yet they still, I mean, how can you possibly? I don't know. If I saw a puddle part in front of me, well.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's beyond me. So anyway, there we are. Was there anything else you wanted to go back over, or?
That was a beautiful table, Janette.
It is, sister. Yeah.
Yeah. Worthy to open the scroll, worthy to look after us, our Redeemer.
And he won't allow one of us to be snatched out of the Father's hand.
No, that's another good way of using that term. Yeah.
Snatch,
We're engraved on the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
Janette, we talked yesterday about a word on there that was mark and trace, rusham. I think that was the stamp word as well, wasn't it? It's a death which leaves no mark of violence on the body. That's interesting. I didn't see that one yesterday. It's okay. Here's the next definition down, which we had read. It's same mark, cicatrix, which is where we got the word for.
Oh, yes, I remember that word.
Yeah. It's also characters of writing, incision, like if you're scribing something, the stamp of a coin. And it also talks about a mark of an owner on a slave. Mark of an owner on a slave, yeah.
Oh, like their ear, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So stamp of a coin. And I remember Yahushua said, whose coin is it, right? Whose picture's on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was Caesar's.
That's it.
That's going
Render
to be
unto Caesar.
interesting with, oh, go ahead.
No, that was it. Just render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto Elohim what is Elohim's.
I was just going to say that's going to be interesting with Bitcoin and
Yeah.
bricks. And,
Right.
Oh, that, yeah, the mark. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Just seeing that mark word that you had found, the sign. There we go. Just having trouble getting from one application to another on my computer. These computers get tired after they're like 7 years old. They're like, I don't know, I'm tired. Yeah, that's a beautiful table, Janette. And I want to encourage people, if you have heard the name Jesus your whole life, whether you were raised in churches or not, we found out that the letter J wasn't even around for the first edition of the King James translation. And now there's a restored name, King James. So if you love King James, you can find online for free a version you can read that just search out restored name King James. And we also use the ISR on Bible Hub. That is a restored name translation. And then there's several different versions of the Holy Scriptures. This is an old one for me, but it's pretty cool. It's waterproof, right? These are waterproof pages. So it can still be highlighted. And that's what I'm reading right now because I need to get a new they're not all so clean. I got all kinds of notes in here. Versions of that we use all the time. We use these Hebrew notes and Aramaic even, and we're just really loving learning these languages. And I encourage you to embrace your Messiah as he was when he walked on this earth, what his mother called him. And he has a name, and it wasn't Jesus. We didn't even have a J in the English language until after like 1600. I've got a Webster's 1828 dictionary. It's got a section about this big for J, just that big in 1828. So embrace your Messiah in his Hebrew form, in his Yehuda, which is Judah, right? Which is, we know that the word is Jew, but it's Yehuda, Yehudi. He was a Yehudi, and he was Hebrew. And also, if you haven't seen Identity Crisis, we have a copy of that video on this channel. It's 3 hours, and it's an amazing 3 hours you need to spend. It's a message that's not taught in the churches. And I've heard more people than I can even count say, that video changed my life. It's just, it's a paradigm shift. Right, Leah?
Yeah, it realigns who you realize you belong to. Like, because all along you tend to feel like you're the outsider, right? And then a lot of the church teaches, that whole replacement theology, but this makes so many other scriptures make sense. The 2 sticks coming together, the 10 tribes scattered that he will regather, like all of those things that just kind of get glossed over make sense once you start to realize that, wait a second, we're part of the scattered tribes. Most of the people in the churches are there because they're part of the lost remnant, 12 tribes.
That's right.
Or sorry, 10 tribes.
Yeah, I believe they've been hidden in the churches. I believe that many of us were raised in churches, and we were just hidden there, ready to, when that cloud moves, we get up and we follow it. And then there was a great awakening around 2009, and people like me woke up and started hearing things like, they took my own name out of my own book. That's what my introduction was to hearing the voice of Yahuwah. I had heard it a little bit before then, but that was a big one in 2009. And
then there's the scripture too about they will no longer call me Baal, or something to that effect. And then when you do the translation of the word Lord, it means Baal. And some people will stand there in prayer and be going, Lord, help me with this, Lord, help me with that. And if you realize that they're saying Baal every single time, that means Baal.
Yeah. And we have to realize that the Father is not coming to put us in a kingdom where we can live like we want to live and on our own terms, but we're coming to his kingdom and it's his rules. And he has commandments for us to keep. He has a feast, and you'll probably notice that Christians always look around this time for a rapture, and there's probably good reason. I believe it's in their DNA. They have a hypersensitivity to the Hebrew feast, even if they're not keeping them in any way, shape, or form. And those are found in Leviticus.
Many more seem to be waking up to understanding the feast, because they're, even the ones that are date setting for the rapture, they are talking about Yahuwah's Moedim, Yahuwah's feast, as opposed to, so they are starting to incorporate that understanding more and more. I'm seeing more and more online ministries starting to teach about them and learn about them, even though they may not fully, understand what they all stand for, but it is being incorporated more. So more and more eyes are, more scales are being peeled
They're
off of the.
wonderful to keep. They're so much better than
Exactly.
and Easter, and that's what a lot of people don't want to give up, their traditions of men, and that's what
right.
Keeping the usual Christian holidays is of men's making.
Right, and this is a time we're coming into when the Messiah was actually born. So for those who want to celebrate the Messiah's birth and coming into our realm as a living being, a fully human and fully deity, Yahushua, this is that time. Yeah, the 7-month feast. And I encourage you to look them up in Leviticus 23, and you're not going to keep Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Day, and according to the January 1 version of that, who has a whole different calendar. You're not going to find those, and Valentine's Day and May Day and so on and so forth. They're not there. That's just what we've been raised to do.
And the thing with all of those, they're all symbols and signs and rehearsals to lead us to his coming, his first coming and his second coming. The first one was already accomplished in the spring Moedim, and then the fall Moedim is pointing to the second coming.
Yeah, it behooves us to really get in touch with the Father to the best of our ability, according to his word, on his fall feast, because this is a time we are going to be dealing with. We're going to be dealing with probably a lot of tragedy between now and Revelation 22. So we need to just bind ourselves tightly to the Father and his Son, our Messiah, and live like our Messiah lived. Not like how we think Paul lived, but how our Messiah lived. Our Messiah is not Paul. Our Messiah is supernatural, the only begotten Son of Yahuwah, the Creator. And so it just behooves us to really hone in, bind ourselves tightly to the Father and the Son. Those are the two we need to be the closest to. Let nothing get between us and them. And this is a time of repentance right now. Yom Kippur is coming up, and it is like a time of covering. When we go to Yahuwah and we're afflicting ourselves that day, it starts in the evening of the 7th month. We're almost at the beginning of the 7th month, which is its own feast. It's Feast of Trumpets. And then that's day 1 for a 10-day countdown to Yom Kippur. So it starts in the evening on the 9th, which I believe is going to be you guys help me. Anybody got the date in their head? I think it's the 23rd will be the 9th. And then the 24th will be Yom Kippur proper, the day 10, all day long. So it's like sundown to basically dark is when I keep it, sundown to dark.
And then we get tabernacles for a week.
And then we have tabernacles, big old camping trip.
Yes.
When you say sundown to dark, you mean the following dark or the same night?
Oh, the following. Yeah. So I'm talking about the Hebrew calendar, of course, the 9th evening, which I think is gonna we're gonna see the September 23 fall on that 9th evening. So from the sun going down, we are to afflict ourselves. For most, when they study the scripture, that means a day of fasting. Okay, so that whole evening we're fasting. It's it's easy enough to have a meal right before sundown. And so you're fasting the rest of that evening, and then all the next day. I do it even through evening to dark, because it's still that mixture. So we do it when the mixture begins on the 9th until the mixture ends. So there's no more light, there's just dark.
And it's easy to do one day.
Yeah.
One night, one day, unless you're used to eating all the time. But I find it really easy.
Yeah. And it's a month.
That's preparation too, I think, for having to, get by with less food. There's going to be famines. There's,
Yeah, we'd be doing
like it gets you in that mindset of what it's like to have to go without food if you've never fasted before.
Yeah.
But then they did in the Bible, didn't they? They went for a long time, lots of people. So you've got to trust in him to hold you, strong during that time. If that time comes,
Yeah.
there's no food.
Yeah. It's stretching it. And as Leah said, it's preparing us. There may be times we don't have food, and we can know that our Father doesn't let us starve. He can feed us. He can supernaturally feed us. He's done it before. He's done it with the Hebrews when they came out of Egypt.
Yes, there'll be something there when you need it, if you just trust in him.
Yeah. And we also know that the scriptures talk about a second gathering. That's also something everybody wants to talk about, the pre-trib rapture, but there's a gathering, it's called a greater gathering. It's also in Jeremiah 16, among other places. And the Father's going to do a gathering. It doesn't mean a rapture, but just like he's going to pull the people from 4 corners of the earth. And he said it'll be such a great gathering that no one will talk about the first gathering out of Egypt again. It'll be huge. It'll be huge. How's he going to gather people? I'm over here in Hawaii, the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right? What's gathering people from Hawaii going to look like? It's mind blowing.
I read the other day that it's, there's going to be by boat. There's going to be, by supernatural, possibly angels grabbing you, and, flight, some on foot, like just.
Yeah.
It's going to be something to behold. That's for sure.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
We talked about the sign of Revelation 12. Well, Revelation 12 at the end of it says, I'm looking at a different translation I normally look at. It says in verse 9, and the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who leads all the world astray. Oh, he leads all the world astray. Wonder who that could be. He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the Shamayim, that's heavens, now come the deliverance and the power and the reign of our Elohim and the authority of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their witness. And they did not love their lives to the death. Because of this, rejoice, O Shamayim, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, I've heard those two wings are the Torah and the New Testament. Two wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time. So there's like your 3.5 years from the presence of the serpent and out of his mouth. So this hasn't happened yet, right? Hasn't happened. We haven't been whisked away yet, but she's nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman to cause her to be swept away by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed, those guarding the commands of Yahuwah and possessing the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. So again, Torah and New Testament right there. Those guarding the commands of Yahuwah and possessing the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. It's both and.
Yeah. As soon as I read the book of Revelation, I noticed those 3 times that it's mentioned. It's Revelation 12, 17, 14, 12, and in chapter 22, where it says about those who keep the commands. Baruch are they who keep the commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life. So, it mentions about the commandments many times in the book of Revelation, and that's who the saints are. That's who the dragon comes after. That's all we need to know, really.
Yeah.
That is all we need to know,
And if you love me, you'll keep my commands.
Exactly.
Exactly. We want to be welcomed in his kingdom. And we can't get there by living on our terms and ignoring him.
And he kept his father's commandments, and he wants us to keep his, and his is the same as what he was keeping of the father's. So, I don't understand why they say that it's all done away with. And I think, how can it be? When there you are, right at the beginning, they set out, and right at the end, they're still telling us to keep it.
And then back to the name too, it says right in Matthew, Father, I've taught them your name.
Yes.
Right? Because they were trying to keep it hidden. And then they accused him of going in and breaking into the tabernacle or whatever to find the name.
Yeah. That he brought that. I think that's in the Jewish writings in the Talmud. Maybe they said that he stole the name on his thigh or something outside of the tabernacle.
Yeah.
Was he only name?
Now, I think we're going to have to, we're doing our bit now. We're putting the truth out there, the name out there, how to follow him out there, what is not done away with, and who we're part of as the lost tribes. What we're going to have to be careful of, and what other people especially are going to have to be careful of is, read your paper Bible that you have, look after it with your life, because we're going to start getting all these crazy versions, new versions done by, AI. And they're going to sound like they sound really good, maybe, but unless you've got the truth in front of you, in your hands, that you can check and say, no, that isn't what, Yahushua says in his word.
It's already been said that they're going to come out with, this tremendous story that they're the ones that created Jesus, and they created us, and, just so many bizarre things, but it's going to sound so believable. Like already just, the little bit that you see of where people have asked AI to write a sermon or whatever, and it sounds good.
Yes.
If you don't know the truth and have it written on your heart.
Yes. Wow. That's going to be terrible. that. And then they'll come after us and say, well, we're the ones that are being legalistic and we're standing in the way of all their fun, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to handle the word of Yahuwah correctly.
Yeah.
Serve it first of all, but take it into our hearts and plant those seeds. Remember the parable of the seeds that fell on the 4 different kinds of ground.
Yeah.
Be the hard, dry ground. Be the ground that's going to produce, that word is going to go in and richly produce what the Father is expecting it to do. So that's only, what is that? If you broke it down into equal percentages, that was 25% of the seed fell in on great ground. Be the great ground.
Yeah.
Prepare your heart. If it's not prepared now, there was a time that I needed to be praying and I wasn't praying. And the only prayer I could come up with, I believe he specifically gave me, and it was, help me, please.
Yes.
All I could pray at the time, and he helped me miraculously. It's like he gave me the seed of the prayer. I prayed it, and it became an amazing, abundant provision.
Well, that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be all grand, fancy words or long and drawn out, and it just has to be like from the heart.
Yeah, ask him. Right? Inquire, ask. That was the Boker that was the number of Janette's skip on her table today.
It's unbelievable, what I find. It just blows me away all the time. I think, what? That can't be, and that can't be. And the skip and the look of the table when I've annotated it as well. Sometimes what, that looks like a heart, or that looks like a aleph and a tar, and that looks like this. It's just, you think there's
not something that man could do.
No. Like I say, it's like standing on holy ground. For me, that's what it feels like. Take your shoes off.
When my brother was dying and I couldn't pray, the only thing that could come out of my mouth was, please don't let go of my hand. Please don't let go of my hand. Just I couldn't pray anything else except for just don't let go of my hand.
Isn't that a prayer? Oh my, it's just so full of feeling.
Yeah, you didn't need anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you get to that point where you feel so overwhelmed that you can't pray, he'll give you something to cling on to that's just between you and him.
And isn't that when it says that the Ruach will intervene for you with groanings?
Yes.
Yep.
He knows what you're feeling, he will.
He's interceding for you. Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. On our behalf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Yahushua does too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love that people would ask him, if you're willing. I could be healed if you're willing.
Yeah.
He's willing. And he was always the one to go leave the 99 and go find the one.
Yeah.
Tear up the room, sweeping, looking for the lost coin. Yeah.
And
And
anyway, sisters, I must go now.
yes, thank you, Janette. And we'll just close now. We thank everybody for being here. And let's see if I can get over there and
it's been lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very lovely. Love your table.
Thank you, Darla.
Thank you, sister.
I just pray that anybody that comes across this video, that you really step back and do what Scripture says and learn from the Ruach and not man.
Amen.
Amen. Be willing to break off those traditions and just seek the truth. And again, I'm inviting you to watch Identity Crisis here. And if we can help in your journey in learning the truth, learning some Hebrew, just reach out to us, leave us a message. You can email us at alightintothegentiles@gmail.com. And with that, we ask that Yahuwah will be with you until we see you again. Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you